Hi, I'm Colin. I'm 16 years old and I'm restoring a SAAB. Hey everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Bumpy Road Show. In the last episode, we covered a little how-to on how to make 40-year-old carpets seem like pretty much brand new. In this episode, we're going to be covering an aftermarket installation of my brand new horns, because my old ones were just cracked and they were grungy and it wasn't producing the sound that I wanted out of my horns. Funny enough, these aftermarket horns are actually a catalog add-on, so we'll show you a little picture of that in just a second. Now, these aren't exactly the horns that could have came with the car, they're the newer versions of them, and regardless, they're made by the same company. It came with an air compressor, the two horns, the nuts and bolts and mounting tabs, and finally the air tube that feeds the air from the compressor to the horns. Now, something interesting, in the last episode for the game, nobody managed to exactly get it on the dot, but given that it was an aftermarket installation, you can't really figure that out, especially if you're an original guy. So Jan Eriksson was actually the closest one to actually guessing it, so we're just going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Now, let's move on to getting these horns installed. First up, we used a tapered punch so that we could get a spot ready to drill accurately. We don't want any lost control of the drill that will result in scratched metal or bodywork, and we didn't have to drill often as the car had most of the holes we were looking for to install these horns. We only really needed the punch to be big enough so that the tip of the drill fit in the groove nicely and we could drill precisely. Now, I had to go slow and steady for the drilling process because I didn't want to potentially damage any parts or electrical wiring that would be on the other side of this metal as a result of over-revving the drill. And after a minute or two, you can see that it was played at 4 times its original speed. I finally managed to get through and we had our mount set.
This existing hole, there's another hole down here that's existing already, so we'll use some tubing that we had from another project and use the existing hole there to bring the tubing through. We'll be sure and go underneath the dryer so that we're not conflicting with anything, feeding that tube through this little hole. That way we're not drilling any new holes into the firewalls or the frame of the car and weakening the structure. And we'll just funnel this through until we get up here. And then we will take the device, which fit the hella police sirens that I got from the Austrian police chief in Salzburg about 30 years ago. And then see if we can force that up there. I'm gonna have to get a pair of pliers and wrestle with it a little bit, see if we can get it on up.
In this clip, we attached the end of this ground wire to the middle of this bolt and put it against the wall of the engine bay where we found the hole was already there for us to put it in. We also took the positive wire from the old horn and connected it to the compressor so that when used, it will provide air to the horns through the air tube as shown. More on electrical later.
And then we will slide that through the hole there and take our lock washer and our nut from the other side.
After properly being mounted, our horns look like this. Now that we're done with mounting, let's move on to the electrical portion of this video. This page was taken from the electrical manual depicting a 900 similar to mine with the exact same electrical layout. In the model drawing of the car, it shows the electrical routing from the steering wheel all the way down to the horn, and you can see the drawings of the horn, steering wheel, and fuse box as shown in the bottom right. And as mentioned earlier, we took the positive wire from the old horn and connected it directly to the air compressor, which will connect our compressor and our horns to the fuse box, which lets us sound off in the push of a button. This is my steering wheel that I just mentioned, and after taking the cover off with a flat tip pocket screwdriver, we see circuit board traces which basically act as wires. Each are separated because they conduct grounds when two of the segments are connected by the horn button, which then sends power from the steering wheel to a wire and its respective horn relay. Since we're done, let's see how they sound. So now you can see that an aftermarket installation of some horns won't really cause a big difference, as we found a solution, and now they sound exactly as the old ones should have. In this next episode, I must admit, it pulls on my heartstrings a little bit because we reveal that catastrophic event that I was mentioning and alluding to in the last couple of episodes, so stay tuned. It's going to be my biggest project. This over with. Okay. Oh man.